If a manufacturing step is misclassified, the technical parameters assigned to the equipment won't match the physics of the material. When mechanical forces hit a substance requiring chemical stabilization, an industrial mixing vat can overheat and vibrate out of control, ruining a batch in seconds. This failure starts with the paperwork. The specific process documentation you write dictates the exact standard operating procedures applied on the shop floor. To prevent these deviations, engineers must draw a hard line. You have to distinguish between a step meant for physical preparation and one designed for chemical creation. Across all pharmaceutical manufacturing, the goal is maintaining strict molecular integrity while scaling up from a lab bench to mass production. Precise terminology ensures that your process documentation is accurate and your communication during an audit is clear, reducing the risk of compliance errors before a machine is ever turned on. Unit operations rely on an investment of mechanical energy to get materials physically ready for the next phase. The defining characteristic here is that materials are handled and transformed without any alteration to their actual chemical structure. In a typical pharma facility, this includes mixing raw powders, granulating them, or compressing them into solid shapes. The purpose is functional. You are improving how a material flows through the machinery or shaping it into a dosage form the patient can actually take. To achieve this, operators monitor mechanical control parameters, specifically temperature, pressure, time, mechanical force, and airflow. Consider the process of drying wet granules inside a fluid bed dryer. While the hot air strips physical moisture from the batch, the active drug's chemical identity remains exactly the same as when it went in. Unit operations are effective for formulation preparation, but mechanical energy alone cannot synthesize a new active ingredient from scratch. Creating a drug requires a transformation at the molecular level, where atomic bonds break and reform into entirely new structures. This is a unit process. It is a chemical transformation step, where the actual molecular structure of the substance is changed. Common pharmaceutical examples include reactions like oxidation, reduction, hydrolysis, esterification, and polymerization. The primary purpose of a unit process is synthesizing active pharmaceutical ingredients, the APIs, or creating the vital chemical intermediates used to make them. The control parameters are distinct from mechanical steps. You have to manage reaction times, introduce specific catalysts, balance pH levels, and control reactive solvents. We see this clearly during the acetylation step in the synthesis of paracetamol. Here, the chemical structure of the raw molecule is modified to form the final active drug. Because these processes create the new molecules we rely on, they demand more complex safety, stability, and environmental controls than purely physical operations. Comparing these two paths side by side shows how their inputs and outcomes diverge. This graphic highlights the divide. On the left side, the blue unit operations section lists physical processes anchored by granulation and drying equipment. The physical path follows one rule: no new substance is ever formed. Contrast this with the orange unit process section on the right, which relies on chemical reactions utilizing distillation setups and chemical reactors. The outcome here is a molecular change, resulting in the formation of a new substance. This distinction dictates your inputs. Managing temperature as a physical dryer mechanism removes water. Managing temperature as a chemical reaction catalyst accelerates a molecular change. These are disparate goals. One results in the physical removal of moisture, while the other triggers a permanent molecular bond. Applying a physical control mindset to a chemical reaction step increases the risk of critical deviations and batch failure. Operations require mechanical precision, while processes require chemical exactitude. Maintaining this distinction in your documentation helps ensure your SOPs are grounded in the actual manufacturing reality. These definitions dictate your facility design and the daily workflow on the floor. Unit processes dominate the earlier stages of the supply chain: API synthesis and raw chemical production. This path focuses on creating pure active molecules, a task requiring deep chemical engineering expertise. Unit operations dominate downstream. Their shop floor domain is formulation and final dosage manufacturing. This path produces the finished tablets, capsules, and syrups, which requires mechanical process expertise. This mapping clarifies career roles as well. An API synthesis chemist works with chemical processes to yield an active molecule, while a formulation technician uses physical operations to produce a dosage form. Your specific operational role and the final product you handle dictate which set of control parameters you must master to ensure GMP compliance. The distinction is straightforward. A unit operation prepares materials, while a unit process creates new compounds. Comprehensive GMP training programs and QA/QC support systems are available to help your teams correctly map out these parameters for every step of production. Mastering these distinctions provides a baseline of technical clarity for your documentation, helping your team align their controls with the shop floor reality and maintain audit readiness.